All right, guys. Happy Monday here. We're going to do a video here on the crude oil forecast, uh, the a daily FX breakdown of a video that they posted a couple weeks ago, and a little gematria, and also we're going to do some 1 minute trading, as it's such a boring day. There's nothing happening, given the fact that it's a holiday in Canada. So there is a alleged lack of liquidity. That's what we're told happens on these days. However, I've seen on Christmas Eve 3,000 point moves, so it's not necessarily true. So what are we looking at here? First off, well, this is going to have to revisit. This is an excessive spread that a broker has recorded in crude oil at some stage back then during this area of time. I don't know how they've done it that way. Maybe it's a spread, off market spread, weekend gap, stuff like that, where the public were unaware of it, as some of the other brokers are not showing this same area of time, um, and price, but in mainly the MT4 brokers are revealing this. So go through some of your brokers and try to find this area of time. If you can find it on another one besides mine, you all know what mine is. You will, and you see this. Do not overlook it, because it's one of these things where we feel, it's there, we see it up there, but we're going to spend the rest of our lives trading down here thinking it's going to be this and this and all this stuff, while that is staring us in the face. And what happens is it comes back here, which will be, the first time in our history of our known reality that we know of, where oil has visited this price. And we will punch ourselves in the face for not taking advantage of this obvious clue, in which we're using as only a clue to build a case against our long-term theme on everything. If the crude does go up, that means that the Canada will have to go up. The dollar competes with the Canada, so the dollar will have to follow the Canada also. But that means that the rest of the currencies will weaken in order for that to happen. So we are really only thinking about long term here, and now this is, second or 10th, whatever you want to add, second, we'll just say, cause for concern, or for case, for ongoing case of why oil will go here, and the rest of the story. So if CAD goes like this, dollar will end up going like this, while the other currencies can slowly do whatever they want to do. But that's where we're at with oil, guys. So please don't overlook this. This will put us into another time paradigm of pricing, also severe hyperinflation. That will be the end of the V8s, and that's it. They want us in the electric cars, where they can turn those cars off if you didn't, if you said the wrong thing on Facebook on Tuesday. You're going to get to the electric charging station, and it's just not going to work for you. If you didn't wear your mask, if you didn't follow your social status, you will not be getting your your electric car charged. I'm sorry. So we need to go back to nature, people. We need to start cutting down the trees and making oil from the tree roots again, and become more dependent on ourselves and not domesticated and dependent on governments, who provide us the oil, who they tell us is fossil fuels. So we have the illusion that these fossil fuels are made from dinosaurs and other stupid, ridiculous imaginations. So we're moving on here, and we'll come over to the daily FX forecast. She's speaking, this was done 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, sorry. She's speaking about shorting the US yen, which was absolutely crazy during this time. And we have only been speaking about longing this market since this time here on the dollar yen. There was only one area where we suggested there'd be a pullback in dollar Swiss, but we were not even considering selling the USD against anything during this time. So that is a whole bunch of people margin called. They have harvested their energy. The name is Daily FX, and it's orange, suggesting they are worshipping the sun. The sun is taking our energy, so they are harvesting our energy with that. How do we confirm this here? Well, very simple. The sun, S-O-N, Son of God. As I told you, God is the relationship between the sun and the moon in the sky, bringing life. The sun, which they say, let me bring this over here. One second, images. Here it is. As you can see right there, sun walks on water. Okay, so these words are derived from places from their origins, their Hebrew origins, and that's how we have this number here, number 29. Well, let's just take a look here. Daily FX IG is 27. Okay, now let's determine the sun is 28. And I believe we have a sun somewhere. There it is, 27 in full reduction, which would make sense as that this SON was derived from the SUN. Okay, so because this here is the closest to Hebrew, the Chaldean, then we go to the Greeks, and then after that to the Latin / Anglo-Saxon, which is where we look at these numbers here. So 27 is the number we need to be focusing on there, and we see it right there with the daily FX IG. I mean, you can't get any plainer than that. FX IG. Okay, what was it before when it was FXCM? 55, 43, 127. You can remove the 1 if you like in Gematria. It shouldn't be ignored, but it's not a good enough case for us to go all in on. But you see where I'm going with this. Now, what do we do at this point? Let me draw this out for you here. Now we've established where we are in this reality. We've come here, we've come here, and 2020 happened. Okay, and I'll show you what happened. So this would have been back for me here when I didn't believe a word of the Lockerbie bombing in 1989 when I saw that on TV. So I'll call that 1989. Okay, and then it goes on to different events after that. You know, obviously we'll throw in 9/11 here. And then what happened at 2020 is we went parabolic. And 2020 was a gift to us. Okay, a gift. Had 2020 not happened, we would be only here. Okay, or maybe we would have been working here. Maybe we'd have jumped back a little bit and we would have carried on here, you know. We needed to see how this works in terms of unconscious actors going along with what they're told to do, forming a belief structure that forms the next belief model in which society will then go along with for the next period of time. Okay. And they go along there, and what happens is us guys are branching off as we do it, reading all this, and there's only a certain amount of people that will get to this part. Okay, the many guys will work along this level, and what happens is they go back here due to their influences of their friends and social status and who they can who they want to hang out with and things like that. Many of them go all the way back to before that point where they pretend this didn't even happen, and this, and then they basically join these guys. So it's a filling up process of constantly trying to put more people into this pool, which is this. So once we're now here, what do we do at this point? Do we go back, okay, and join the Virgo camp and believing in coincidences and randomness, or do we continue on forwards, expanding our consciousness and raising our level of frequency? What are we going to do? Because as we do this, these guys go over here, and then we get more divided. Yes, we can jump in once in a while if we want to go to the grocery store real quick. Okay, maybe you need to buy some socks. Boom. Okay, and that's about it. That's your only level of interaction with this, as you don't really follow it anymore, or you know, however you want to see it. The choice is yours. So today, and in the other video, let's find out what he's talking about here. Pound index. Oil outlook. I mean, we'll watch that for a laugh, but let's look at the pound. We've been pretty tuned in with the pound for the last little bit. What's he talking about? I don't think we got the volume on here. Might give us volume, I don't know. Uh-huh. All right, so I don't think you're getting the sound there from this guy, but he's the senior strategist, and he's already talking about Q2 and all this stuff, and decisions and rates and et cetera, et cetera. Q1 was a quiet for the pound. Okay, let's move on. He's talking Virgo. all talking about hindsight. I think this may change, though, he said. Okay. All right. It's all government scripture. There's no point in listening to a word of it. What's he saying the pound's going to go? Which direction? Let's find out. It's all talking about pausing and waiting for inflation. So he's not giving us the direction. While she was. Let's find the oil guy. But what he's doing is he's building up a sentiment. Resistance. Would you say this guy has any clue about the things that we're discussing? Richard Snow, data FX analyst. Where's our gematria here? Data FX analysis 45. What the number 45? Oh, hang on, let's just verify 1 second. We have our spelling incorrect. Oh, yes, I apologize. Sorry. But he's actually called the Daily FX Analysis. That's even better. But he is the data analysis, apparently, according to what he just said. If my ears are not lying. Analyst. Sorry, I forgot how to spell since we've been dependent on spell check since 1992. I literally have forgotten how to spell the word analysis. I apologize. Analyst. Okay, analyst. There we go. 41. And we need to write daily FX in there. Oh my God. You see, in the US it's spelled Dally, and in England it's spelled daily. So my spelling is all mixed up also. So he is the daily FX analysis. That's his job, and his name is Richard Snow. We'll do a little digging 1 second. Daily FX analyst 4156. Okay, so this guy is playing the movie. Okay, they are paying him a salary to play, okay, the movie. And what is the movie? The movie is what? Harvesting our energy. Okay, so his job is to lie, okay, to you. How does he do this? He unconsciously does this with government scripture and stupidity, Virgo excuses, and more nonsense. Okay. Have I made this? Can I make this any more clear? It's your decision, folks. Which one's it going to be? Do you want to go here or do you want to go back? Because you'll remain here on a Christian perspective, for example. If you have the Christian perspective of everything you look at, you'll remain just there. Okay? Remain exactly where you were told to go, on that side, the side of Christianity, the cross. All right, so let's get on with the trades now. We'll do a double hedge on just looking at the index perspective, a triple hedge, I apologize, just looking at the index perspective on the 1 minute chart. We're not going to look at anything else, and we're going to remove all our biases from our higher time frame beliefs that we formed by monitoring the higher time frame for the last few weeks. fine, it might not be the highest time frame there is. To many, it just depends in which fractal you're operating on. We today have decided that it's such a boring day, we are going to take a look at this perspective. So here we go. All right, right off the bat, the Swiss is the strongest. It's what we know. So we are right away bias Swiss down, okay? But we're not allowed to trade that yet. In the case of the Aussie, what are we seeing here? Well, New Zealand is quite a considerable amount stronger. Aussie and New Zealand do compete, obviously, so this would imply that the Aussie, on a 1 minute perspective only, remember that, only discussing this, is weak, strong, okay, which means, and since they compete, what we'd be expecting is some type of Aussie, sorry, New Zealand up move, a grind higher. So that is hedge 1. Okay, we'll call that hedge number 1. Okay, great. So we're long Aussie. That is our bias. Aussie green. All right, excellent. Next, we now need to look at the dollar relative to the CAD. We'll write this in as well, strong. All right, and our dollar is relative to CAD is strong. While the CAD is weak. Means that we are long green, the CAD green, as CAD will need to follow the dollar. If the dollar and the CAD both collectively fall, well, that's great because the CAD has fallen more than the dollar. If the dollar and the CAD collectively rise, well, that's great because the CAD will have more room to go both directions. Okay, sorry, on the upside, CAD only has. I'm not saying right here that the CAD index goes up. I'm just saying right now, from this area of time, what we're viewing, we see that the CAD index relative to the dollar should slowly increase, but we wouldn't just enter a trade based on what I just said. But now we have 1 second perspective here, which equals hedge 2. Let's move on. We have to look at the Swiss relative to the LFX as well. And we need to see the same area of time. We need to look at the pound relative to the euro. All right, we can move this LFX over here, not to distract us. But we might want to keep it just for a little bit of relativity. Let's just do that. All right. Euro is the strongest currently. Now, remember, we already have a long-term bias on pound, which is down on the higher time frame perspective. But we must not let that come into our plans here, our perspective, because we are only trading a 1 minute perspective. We will obviously do less lot sizes on this trade, as it's a fun holiday mess around trade, is what we're doing. So the pound would be the one relative to the euro, which currently in this area, if you were long euro pound on a higher time frame, you might want to consider taking a little bit of profit off of that. But we know there's a larger time frame target in mind, so we can carry on holding for that. But we may see some sort of drop for a little bit, and then something else happens. So just take that into account here. So the hedge number 2 here will be, and it's the same with the euro. So if the euro and the pound both go down collectively relative to the other currencies, since they're competing, the pound has already gone more than the euro down. The euro will have more room to go down. Same deal in reverse. So pound is the green one here, locally 1 minute. Okay, so that would be hedge 3. Right. Now, because there's this amount of currencies, we have to look at the Swiss relative to the LFX. What we see, remember this is backwards. It's the yen first we should be thinking about. So the yen itself is a weak currency currently, which means the yen relative, let's say, to the, if this was versus the CAD, you'd want to be long the CAD, right? And short the yen, but unfortunately that's not going to work in this case, because if we talk about the LFX, this is the strong one. We'd want to be CAD long versus the LFX, but the problem is this LFX being so high, if this falls, it's got considerable amount of room to come down, while the CAD has less room to come down. So you'd see a CAD yen chop in this trade here. So we wouldn't take that here. Let's draw that in there. It would certainly be CAD yen chop. CJ chop. Okay. So if the LFX was to come down, it's got a considerable amount of room more. The Swiss here, this is CHF. Sorry, I didn't put it up. Oops, I messed up here. That's CHF. If the CHF was to come down, it's got less room down than the yen, but it's still up. So if it's got less room down than the yen, but it's still up, it means it can go down. So can Swiss support this? I don't know. Really, I'd be a short on Swiss yen if I was to take that. But that is not, it's to see them both like this with them both up. It's a big X on the the last hedge, if you could call it a fourth. But we can't, you know, quadruple hedge anyway because we have to we can't do it that way. We need to see we have one group plus one group equals a pair. We don't look at three groups to equal a pair, if you know what I mean. So USD CAD, right, is equals one group Euro Pound GBP. This is why you can't create a quadruple hedge. There's no such thing. If we put the quadruple hedge in the Gematria, it would be nonsense. It wouldn't give us it wouldn't give us any form of consistency relative to our other numbers. Equals one group, and we'll do that for the purpose of this video. I've not actually looked at that. So here, and then the other one we would obviously do is Aussie New Zealand. One group. Now, when looking back, what we see here is we know we've got a pound green, right? So we'll say pound equals up and euro equals down. We know we've got an Aussie New Zealand up and a New Zealand down. And we know we've got a CAD up and a dollar a little less up / down, which would give us the CAD. When we trade here, we know for sure we want to be long pound. We can't be long pound CAD, that's out of the question. We could be long pound dollar, but when dollar's going to kind of overall follow CAD, that's really a scalp. So we're not going to do a long pound dollar. So we look at this trade like this, okay, no, and then we'll go here, and we'll say no. We know the euro is going to come down while the CAD can go up, so we can take a euro CAD short here. Then with the Aussie, Aussie going up, what we could do is we could take a euro Aussie short also. So short, and that would be the trade I think that I'd be happy to do. Yeah, I want the euro CAD. All right, so that's what we're doing. Ready, steady. Brand new 1 minute chart. We need to work out where the target's going to be, of course. Let's do that. Okay, so there's a lot of people here. We're not going to, you know what, we don't care about this larger time frame here. We're taking EuroCAD short, and we're going to go with 2 lots, not 22, because this is just messing around, having some fun here. Where is the target? I don't know if we're going to find it, but we'll give it a good shot. All right, we've got the same level we're looking at. Let's just move over the okay, CAD. I want this out the way. Here, we're not interested in the yens anymore. All right. Now let's pull the euro in here. Now this is how we're doing it. Go back to this area of time. We see the euro has gone up. What has the CAD done during that same area? Hang on. It's gone sideways. So that sounds about right. We're seeing red. We know during that time, hang on, euro has gone up while the CAD has gone sideways. Well, what that tells us right there is this part here will need a revisit, but we're already kind of at that target, so I wouldn't be expecting a huge amount of profit in terms of a target because we don't see a spread here. But we're going to zoom out and we're going to find a better target because that's how we do things here. All right. So we're seeing everything here is what we're expecting to see. We've got a euro up, a CAD down, so that equals a euro CAD up. Okay, so that's exactly what we should be seeing for that area of time. So let's come back and we try to find the target here. Okay, let's think about this level here. That all works. Euro CAD is back up almost at the level, while Euro index is above the level, and CAD index is above the level. That is going to give us, just from looking here, a lot of work here. All right, I got it, guys. I love it. 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 Oh, that's hard to find, but we've got it. I'm going to highlight it. All right. This area here is all pricing, time and price. Okay, from here to here, it's area of time. How much time pricing's been carried out. Here in the Euro CAD, okay, that's the level. While the CAD index is at the level. So that's all legit as well. I thought I had it, but I didn't. Hang on. It's Very, very interesting this. And I don't want to go back because then we'll be looking at another time frame. Okay, Euro CAD is priced here, which is this area here. Euro's priced there. Come over here and we see that Euro is priced here again. It's right here. We see CAD has priced here. But CAD is not repriced there, while Euro has. If Euro wants to reprice here, which it has right here, then that's going to suggest that we have a CAD will need to reprice up there, given that. So that's our target, folks. That's where we're going. And that will be a wrap. Peace.